It is day 15 of the search.
I think it's 16.
16 of the search. And Adam Schefter said something that we've heard Giglio yapping about it or whatever. Here's what Schefter said.
They're looking for the right fit for one of these jobs. They've been through any number of candidates. They don't appear to be in any rush to name somebody. They have Nick Sirianni, who always could call the offense if they can't find somebody worthy of doing the job. But they're being diligent, looking for the right match. And also, again, the fit is not for everybody, as we've seen. Some people have taken other jobs. Some people have pulled out of consideration. It's not for everybody, but they think there are enough good candidates out there that they're going to come out of this with a good, strong offensive coordinator.
So the interesting thing there, he said, is that Nick Sirianni could call the offense if they don't find somebody worthy. And Giglio was talking about how this is a bad idea. I think, given the situation, Nick Sirianni calling plays is absolutely a good idea. They should let him do it, and they should use the opportunity to hire somebody at this point, to hire one of those high upside young guys that hasn't called plays. You don't want to put them in the situation to call plays, but your organization gets stronger. Maybe you get a future star within the organization. Like, if the options to me are some retread, like Nagy or Cooter or a high upside young guy, get the young guy in the building. If they wanted one of the retreads, they would have hired one of the retreads already. Make the organization smaller, or stronger rather. And we all know Sirianni's fingerprints are all over the offense anyway. Let him do it. And I know what people will say. I already know the response. Well, he did it in 21 and he wasn't good at it and they took it away from him. It was 2021. It was 5 years ago. That is a long time. Nick Sirianni has improved in a lot of different ways in 5 years. In 5 years ago, we weren't even sure that Nick Sirianni would be here for more than 2 years or more than 1 year.
Definitely.
You know, and here he is, 5 years later, been to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. I think if we never got a chance as humans to try something again that we failed at in the first place, we would have a lot fewer successful people out here doing everything. Bill Belichick failed as a head coach, his first round as a head coach.
I failed in that seat.
You failed in this seat. And look, you may never get another shot, but I think Nick Sirianni should get a shot. And I think he has shown enough growth. And I think there is a lot of upside here, right? If it works, we have a head coach who is much more valuable. And we also have an organization that isn't going to have to look for an offensive coordinator every single year. Or if we do, we're not looking for a play caller every year. We don't have to go into every offseason with Nick Sirianni sitting up on the dais answering as to what he does or what he doesn't do, because we would know what he does or doesn't do. And I think the worst case scenario here is he can't do it, he fails, and we all think he's sort of on the hot seat anyway, and then they can go out and have a real search for a head coach / offensive coordinator if that's what they want. I think like this year coming up is a lot of show us, don't tell us for a lot of people within the Eagles organization. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have to show us things, and I think Nick Sirianni has an opportunity here. This wouldn't have been at the start of this. This wouldn't have been my number one option, right? Mm-hmm. My number one option wouldn't be hire some 30-year-old who has 1 year of coaching experience and have Nick Sirianni call plays. But here's where we are. The good candidates, the best candidates are gone. Mike McDaniel's gone. Brian Daboll's gone. Slowik doesn't want to come here. The kid in Chicago doesn't want to leave, doesn't want to come here. So let Nick Sirianni call the plays, hire the highest upside guy you get, and see how it goes. Because I think it is the best possible scenario right now, Ike.
Yeah, you know, boy, if this had been a thought process a month ago,
yes,
we'd run you off the air. But I got to be honest with you. I don't know how much I disagree with what you're saying.
Right.
I don't know how much I can disagree. I don't know if it's going to work or would it work. But the logic behind saying, you know what, if this is what we're left with to choose from, then you may as well let him just call the plays. He's going to have, like, if one of the sticking points is, well, you can't bring in your entire staff, so you have to coach with the coaches that are already here on the offensive staff. Well, Nick knows the coaches on the offensive staff. It's his staff. He put it together 5 years ago. They've been working together for 5 to 6 years now. And if you're going to bring someone in like a Sean Mannion, no disrespect to Sean Mannion, he doesn't have the experience yet.
No.
So how much faith can I actually put in that? I would have more faith in Nick Sirianni doing it versus Sean Mannion, who as recently as 2 years ago, had on a helmet and shoulder pads.
Yes.
And was a part of the league. And so if this is what we're left to choose from, and you're not getting one of the top guys, now I will hold out for Jim Bob Cooter. Jim Bob Cooter, I'm still kind of, but I don't even like they may not even get him. He's interviewing with the Giants.
Right.
Yeah, I got it, Spike. I can't disagree. I mean, I can't push back too much on this. I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Are you crazy?" And we'll get a lot of pushback from it. But if this is what they're going to choose from,
yes,
you may as well go with Nick Sirianni. Here's the thing: Nick Sirianni knows the offense. He knows the personnel. He gave it a shot at play calling early in his career. It didn't work out for him early in his career. He's at least had experience being here, being a head coach, that he may be better at it the second time around. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I would believe they would have a top 5 offense or even a top 10 offense with Nick Sirianni calling the plays. I don't know that to be the case. What I am saying is, instead of having this uncertainty coming in,
yes,
at least there is some certainty there and some known commodities there with Nick Sirianni already in place. Now, if you want to bring in one of these younger guys and they get the title of OC,
yes, absolutely,
that's fine. We see that with other teams where the head coach calls the plays. It certainly would be interesting. Like I said, I don't know how effective it would be. But and here's the other thing. The guy has gone to 2 Super Bowls, and he's won a Super Bowl. If nothing else, he's earned the right to give it a shot again.
Sure.
Now, the Eagles may tell him, this is on you if it doesn't work. This is on you, which means his job may be on the line.
But you know what? His job's on the line anyway.
I agree with that. If things don't go well next year, whether you bring in a new coordinator or not, jobs are going to be on the line next year.
So, and here's what the choice ends up being, because I know that 215-592-9494, how do you feel about the Eagles bringing in a high upside young guy and letting Nick Sirianni call the plays? I think it's the best idea we have now, because I know your response could be, well, like I know it's not your first choice.
Of course.
But we're here now.
Yeah, this is where we are now.
So do you want, here are your choices as far as I see them. I see a retread offensive coordinator that doesn't have a job yet, that you're not going to be excited about.
Nobody's going to be excited about that.
You have a young guy who's never called plays in the NFL, who has to come in here, fix the offense, and go to the Super Bowl, which we know
even
that's not going to work.
Even more questions and doubt associated with that. Or
you can bring in somebody you're excited about, let them grow slowly, and give Sirianni the chance again. And I just want you to think again about how long ago 2021 is. Like in 2021, I was thinking about myself. The difference between 2021 and now. 2021, I was working here. I spent almost 3 years in New York. I came back here, and I've almost hosted this show for 2 more years.
Yeah.
That's how much time it is. It's a lifetime. I just think he's in better position to do it now. He's an offensive-minded head coach. His fingerprints are all over the offense. Let him do it.
And you know he's going to be involved.
Right.
He's going to be involved.
And if he fails, just fire him and hire somebody else next year. But this, we don't have to go through this anymore if it works. I want you to think about the upside, not the downside. There's only upside, I think, to doing it. Well, there is downside.
There is downside.
Yeah, yes, there is downside. But I mean,
to your point, when we talked about this, and I'm like, are we really? Is this where we're at? But that's not too far from where I was a week ago about saying keeping Kevin Patullo as the guy.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of how I arrived at that. Yeah, it's kind of the same way I arrived at that.
I think Nick handles the way the city will operate.
Sure.
We won't be confused as to who's doing what. It'll be Nick.
I think, honestly, he would be more assured of himself.
I think so, too.
Being in that position. Because he doesn't have to walk on eggshells around people and that sort of thing.
No, let him become. People always ask, why doesn't Nick Sirianni get the respect? Why doesn't he get the respect? Why doesn't he get Put him in position to either become that guy or we get to the next guy.
Right.
I think it's the perfect situation.